Bench Mob, episode 25. Got Pat Jamison on the show today.
Yo,
You,
what's up?
I'm good, man. Good, man. How you?
I'm good. Just, taking it day by day, with this virus and just trying to get better each and every day.
How is quarantine like treating you?
At first it was terrible, but I kind of got in the hang of things. At least, I have some family in PA, so they let me stay there sometimes. The gyms are open down there, like the basketball gyms, because I know in New Jersey, they got the fitness centers open, but they moved the equipment to the basketball court, so I'm still out there in PA most of the time.
All right, so you there like weekly? You go over there?
Yeah, I mean it's only an hour drive, so sometimes like I just drove back home today. But I
Mhm.
mean my uncle lives down there, so he lets me stay whenever, so that's cool to have.
Now you just mentioned it. You're going to PA to get work in. Where
Yeah.
where does your work ethic come from?
Honestly, it's a passion. It's a love for the game. I mean like I love this game ever since I was a baby. My whole family like we love basketball. Like my family, they always been diehard basketball fans. And what really taught me my love was when, quarantine, there was a time where all the gyms are closed and they even removed the rims of the park. So there was like 3 or 4 days where I had no basketball at all. And like I was
Mhm.
going crazy. So that really taught me like I can't live without this game. Like I literally had to like beg my parents. Like I had to borrow money from them just for them to buy me a hoop in my backyard. And I had to do that for like 2.5 months. And that was just to, like keep me sane. Because if I had that, I was gonna go crazy. So
Yeah, I saw driving by. You got the hoop in the backyard now, getting shots in, getting in,
yep,
however which way you could get it possible. I know one of
exactly.
the things that a lot of people know about Pat Jamison is he could shoot the lights out. You
Hmm.
got voted as like the best shooter when you was in high school in Jersey. Where, what did you do to get your jump shot so prolific?
I mean, now I have a lot of time, so now I get like 1,000 3-pointers made every day. Aside from that, I do like other shooting drills. But even back then, like I know back like middle schoolers and high schoolers, it's very time consuming. So even back then, I would still shoot like at least 500 every day. But I think the main key about shooting is just being consistent and shooting, as much as you can. The more times you do it, the more effortless it becomes. And just working on different footworks, different moves, like you gotta be uncomfortable. You gotta make the uncomfortable comfortable, and that's how
Mm.
you progress. So just doing like say you could be comfortable curling, but you could be uncomfortable with the 1-2 step. So you want to practice both. So if you make both comfortable, that makes your shot like a lot better. You know what I mean? Right? There's
Yeah,
certain moves like before I used to like really hate going from like behind the back into a shot, but like recently I've been working on that a lot. And, like that helps my shot like a lot just by just doing that uncomfortable repetition and trying to make it comfortable.
so you just making sure that you're able to get your shot off in multiple ways, and that's how you keep
Exactly.
working.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, where'd you like for most people? Obviously, in the generation we live in now, everybody wants to start shooting from half court, like Steph. Where did you start? How did you get to be able to stretch your range per se?
Well, my brother Dan, we always did like form shooting. Ever since I was younger, like he'd start me from right under the basket and we start form shooting, and we make our way back. And as we just got comfortable, we would just keep going back and back. So like, and out building strength. Honestly, the weight room helped a lot in terms of range. Ever since I got stronger, it becomes more effortless. But you gotta do both. Like I know a lot of people say, there's a lot of weightlifters that say, they can't shoot now because they started lifting, but that's because they didn't shoot. You gotta do both. Once you do both, it's a crazy feeling. Like it just becomes so much easier. So it's a lot easier to like control that shot and just shoot from range.
So the stigma and the saying that you lift weights you can't really shoot afterwards is, are you trying to say on live it's false?
It is false. Like, I mean, if you go directly from a lift, obviously you'll feel kind of sore. But
Mhm.
if you get used to that, like in college, we used to do that. We used to have weight room sessions before our practice. And like at first, it would affect me, but as I got used to it, it's like it doesn't affect you anymore. Like, if anything, it kind of warmed you up in a way. Like, I felt better after I started lifting. So, yeah.
I think that's interesting for those out there that believe they can't lift before shooting. It's just really just putting the time in, your body get used to it. You make your
Exactly.
body adjust to what you want to do. You mentioned college, right? So I know you was at most recently NJIT. What
Hmm.
happened in regards of playing at NJIT? Are you still there? How's that
Yeah,
going?
I was a preferred walk on there for 2 years. It was a good experience. I mean, it was always my dream to play Division I basketball, and it was a big blessing to achieve that dream. However, it did have its ups and downs. Throughout my whole like life and career, I was used to always starting, scoring, being like a key player, and just being in the whole other end. It was like a whole different, I guess, experience, and it was hard mentally, honestly, but yeah, I was just not used to that bench, but I mean, I did as much as I could to persevere and just kind of just look at it. It's still a blessing either way, to
Mhm.
be at the level. Um, but at the same time, it was not easy. But what eventually happened was around this time last year, I think mid October, like October 14th, literally like 5 days after our media day, I get called into compliance office saying I'm ineligible because I played a Filipino league. Like I was playing in a whole bunch of Filipino tournaments last summer
Mhm.
because they were unsanctioned events. Yeah, they said I was ineligible, and if they had kept me on the team, the NJT would have a postseason ban. So they decided they had to let me go. So I mean, right now, so I'm still finishing my education. I go to Thomas Edison State. It's an online school, but I have only 60 more credits, and I'll get my degree.
What's your degree in?
Communications.
What do you plan to use communications with?
Well, after basketball, I hope to one day coach at the high school level.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of high school coaches, they're either like teachers, like gym teachers, or they could work. A lot of them are English teachers. I know my head coach, Coach Tynes, he worked in ISS. So just work somewhere within a high school so I could coach. That's
Gotcha.
what I do.
Get your get your foot in the door some way somehow.
Exactly, yeah.
Um, so what is like your current goal right now? I'm gonna read to you one of your captions on your post: NBA, PBA, G League, or Euro League. I'm just trying to make this my profession. What's
Exactly.
what's the goal now?
So I mean, right now I'm just trying to get better each and every day, skill wise, athleticism wise, strength wise. That's all I could do now, especially with this virus. I mean, the PBA. They just got a bubble to resume last year, so they're still playing the 1920 year, and they will start that I think next week, and that will
Mhm.
go next 3 months. And hopefully, if it goes well and no one catches any cases, they could have a new season for next year. And right now, I gotta stay ready. I have an agent based in Manila, which is the capital of the Philippines, and if all goes well and this whole bubble thing works out, I could probably realistically be there by like January, February. And they have a whole draft process out there because I'm counted as a local rather than an import. Locals go through a draft combine, they go through pre-draft workouts. They have a whole PBA draft, so if all goes well, I could probably start that process by like January.
That's dope. So
Yeah.
January, February to be over there playing professional, which is your goal, obviously, as you mentioned in your caption, PBA. Do you plan, is it like an ultimate goal to parlay that into coming back to the States, or being that you from the area, you're going to be comfortable over there?
My trainer Richard, he did mention, if you kill out there, you never know what could happen. You see a lot of guys, start overseas and they progress and they jump up. So, I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I want to
Mhm.
first focus on the PBA first, and we'll see how that goes. And I'll work my hardest, and you already know I'll be on my grind out there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you one of the hardest working people I know, so I put
Yeah.
my money on that. whether it's a
Yeah.
year, 2 years, you'll be doing what you need to do out there. So I put my money on that.
Yeah.
Um, in your process, like so, you mentioned Rich, your trainer. I know you've done work with a lot of different trainers, and you mentioned your brother. I was there when your brother was starting off,
hmm
helping you out. Who do you credit for your growth and maturation um, of your game so far?
Well, me and Rich, we've been working out since I was like early in my seventh grade year. I met him at the JCC, and honestly, he's probably responsible not just me maturing as a basketball player, but just as a man in general. Like he's someone I could just call or reach out to if I have any questions about anything, whether it's on the court, and he's always been there through all the good and bad times. So I think, yeah, Rich, and he'll be brutally honest with you. A lot of trainers out here, they'll like, I don't know how to say it. Like they'll give which is good. They'll give their players confidence, which obviously you should do that. But they won't be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're doing something bad, they won't say it. But
Nah,
Rich will call you out. Call you
Rich
out.
keeps it a stat.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Like there was a lot of times where he did hurt my feelings, but it was for my own good. Like I had to hear that. So I think he's the most responsible for me maturing as a basketball player and as a man in general.
True. Rich is the real deal. A lot of people like they see him now on IG. I'm like, yo, Rich been doing this, bro.
Yeah.
Rich the truth. Shout out to Greg. You know Greg. He said
Of
you've
course.
been a killer since you was a kid. So shout out to Greg. I don't know who
Yeah.
Cash underscore Suds is. He called you
Nah.
the
Yeah.
goat.
That's T fam.
Oh, he called you goat. So
Yeah.
shout out those people. Thank you for tuning in to Bench Mile Podcast. Who has been some of the toughest players that you had to score against? Like, who's gave you the most fits in
Um,
your experience so far?
we're talking about just like open gyms. So Rich was a crazy defender. Um, I don't know if you've seen him play defense, but he played. I call him the biggest hack ever. He just hacked, but nah, he plays legit defense. Like, I mean, that's the reason why he played Division I basketball himself, and it's because of his grit and his defense. That's his main thing. So yeah, I would say the toughest defender I ever matched up was Rich.
Who's been some of your like dopest teammates you've had?
I've had a lot. On the top of my head, I could think of T.J. Gibbs. We played at Seton Hall Prep together. Jeremiah Moore. We were a great duo back at West Orange High School. Who else was there? On my AAU team in the Roadrunners, I had Ja'Kai Simmons and Everson Davis. Those are other two guys that I think Everson played at Binghamton, and Ja'Kai played in another school, a Division I school in Texas. So they were real good teammates. And yeah, I learned a lot from them in my time playing for those teams, and they were great players to be teammates with.
You mentioned the Roadrunners, which is a well-known AAU team.
hmm
You might be able to say around the country. What were some of your best experiences playing for the Roadrunners?
Well, being with Coach Sandy, he coached. I think he always brags about this. He coached like 39 NBA players. Uh, Most notable Kyrie Irving. But there's a lot. There's like Randy Foy,
Al
Al.
Harrington. Yeah.
Yeah, so just being around that whole environment. He has a little gym like in Union, and those pickup games get intense. Like there's a lot of talent down there. So I think just that whole competitive edge and that whole like obviously Sandy he preaches his work ethic is crazy. Like he'll play a pickup game to 100 in like a real hot gym too. So you get your reps in, and that's a lot of conditioning too. So that definitely that was eye opening. I remember playing for them and just playing games to 100, and practice will last like so long, but it was good though, and the competition was great. So yeah,
Yeah, I know. I know Sandy still does that. One of my boys, Austin, works with him, and we went over there one time, and he's still doing
to
full court
100.
to 100. It could be two on two, full court to 100.
Yep.
Same thing always. But anybody, you feel me? You grown up. You mentioned West Orange and West Orange basketball, JCC. That's going back. One of the players that you played that played for the Roadrunners for Sandy was Kyrie. I
Mm-hmm.
remember you played him in JCC a couple of times. He came through to visit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being from West Orange, I know growing up, that was one of your favorite players. What are your thoughts on some of his comments regarding,
Yeah.
this is first time in his career he could look down and see somebody gonna knock down that shot. You
Mm-hmm.
agree? You think it went too far? What's your thoughts on Kyrie's comments?
I mean, in my opinion, KD, he is one of the best scorers to ever play in the NBA. So I can't really say anything about that. I mean, that comment was kind of negative just because he did have. I mean, he had LeBron on his team before, uh, but that's a little too much to say. I think that would make the fans went crazy after he said that. But what the comment that really was, I love Kyrie, but just the fact that it was just so arrogant that he said he didn't need a head coach. I think that's wrong. Especially they just hired Steve Nash. And I think you're not really supposed to say things like that in the public. However, I do respect the fact that he speaks freely. Kyrie always speaks freely, and he doesn't really care what anybody else thinks. But I think he should just think more before he says. I think he just opens his mouth and he just says things that's on his mind without thinking.
I appreciate his candidness also of
Uh,
just speaking freely. He did mention, and like it was a 2 hour podcast. He did mention in it that he is impulsive, so I think this was probably one of his impulsive moments.
yeah,
Hey, it's his truth though. That's how he feel. That's what he really believes in his heart of hearts. Shout
yeah,
out to him.
yeah,
I kind of wish it would be one time where it's an athlete that just stands by it. Like when people get mad, yeah, I meant it. Yeah, no, I was talking about this player, but I
yeah,
know that's kind of hard to do.
yeah.
Yeah, and everybody on your back. You mentioned his comment about coaching. Who's been, if you had to, off the top of your head, who's been some of your best coaches?
My best coaches. Trainers don't count, right?
Nah, just coaches.
Probably Sandy is up there. Sandy helped me a lot. Who else helped me a lot? Probably, my high school coach, Greg Tynes. He did give me a great opportunity over at West Orange. He welcomed me. I transferred there my junior year, and he welcomed me with open arms right away. And so I always appreciate that. Coming in as a junior transfer is not always easy to kind of give a kid a home like that. So I'll always appreciate him for that. I
Greg said trainers need love too. We gonna show love to the trainers. I was just
Yeah,
asking specifically for the coaches.
yeah.
Um, we already mentioned, like Rich. Who were some your brother? Who were some other people that you would say that you got working with that were some good trainers?
Yeah, good trainers. Robbie. I don't know if you know Robbie Lefkowitz. He played over at Livingston. He was good. I worked out with Delson before. I think those are probably the two I could think of at the top of my head. But I mean, I think every trainer has their own specialty. So I think working out with different trainers can kind of give you a different feel for the workout because a lot of them have different strengths. So I think Rich is more like his ball handling's crazy. You'll get great ball handling. He also teaches a lot of great footworks. While someone like Delson, he does a lot of conditioning. Like you'll do ball handling for a long time, and you'll get a crazy great conditioning and ball handling workout. So I think if you compare those two, like Rich, you'll learn more. You'll learn more fundamental stuff. While with Delson, you'll get a really good conditioning ball handling workout. So every
In
trainer on the whole thing.
in your opinion, as somebody that is very talented, very skilled,
hmm
what makes a workout good for you?
I think getting reps that you'll get in the game. So what me and Rich do a lot, especially back in high school when I played West Orange, we'll take a play that where I knew I was going to get this particular shot in this particular play, and we do that multiple times. So when it happened in the game, it would just be so natural. So for example, I remember there was a certain play we called it UCLA. There would be
Mm.
a UCLA cut. I'd set a screen to baseline, and then once I set that screen, there would be a down screen for me to pop up to the three. And we practiced that all the time, and because I knew in a game I'd get that shot, so we practiced it multiple times. So when it came in the game, it was just secondhand nature, you know. So
So the biggest thing for you is game time reps, game time speed, and
yeah,
that's a good workout for you.
that is. Yeah, I also believe in obviously before you do game speed, obviously the form shooting is important. Um, I like doing a lot of stationary shooting first, and then eventually going to the game speed. So I think if you mix both in, like that form shooting, stationary shooting, then you go into game stuff. I think that's a great workout.
That's good. We're gonna transition into with the quickness segment.
Hmm.
What's up, Will? You know Will Blackshear dancing, 3-point shooting, prime two wavy. What's up, Will? Transition, to with the quickness segment. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. You just gotta answer it quick. Whatever first thing that comes to your mind. All right.
All right,
Steph or Kyrie?
Steph,
Favorite meal slash food?
Jollibee, it's Filipino fried chicken.
I still gotta try that out.
You never tried it? You heard of it?
I've heard of it. I've seen you and your brother eat it. I've
Hmm.
never tried it. Shout
Nah,
out to
there's
your
a
brother though. He really be on his food stuff. I'm trying to get like him.
yep.
Top five shooters all time.
Steph, Clay, Ray Allen, Dame, and Reggie Miller.
Ooh, that's a nice five right there. Can't argue with that one.
Hmm.
Top five ball handlers of all time.
Kyrie, Jamal Crawford, Allen Iverson, CP3, and I'll put Steph fifth.
Steph Fifth. All right. Last one. Now I know you latch onto both of these mottos. Which one, if you had to choose one? Mamba mentality or Isaiah Thomas's slow grind?
Yeah, yo, that's a hard one. Like I use both, like in my everyday life. Oh man, that's real hard. Cause Mama mentality, it's like bettering yourself, while slow grind is like never giving up in this whole marathon, you know. So if I had to pick one, I think what more applies to myself is slow grind because just my whole life as a whole, it's just it's about perseverance, never giving up. I've been through a lot of roadblocks, but I try my best to just keep going. So I think the slow grind applies way more to my life in general. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different experience. I just think mine in general relates more to slow grind.
As you just mentioned, just a quick one, real quick. Being an undersized guard, how do you deal with these roadblocks and the doubt and the naysayers that hey, you're not 6'6", you can't play pro. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so I mean, me being 5'9", 160, I automatically, fail the eye test. The eye test is when a coach first looks at you when you first walk into the gym. Does he think this player is capable of playing at a high level? And me being my size, I automatically fail that. So what I have to do, or what any small guard has to do, is they can't just be just as good as the average player of a team. They have to be almost twice as good as each player. You have to do something special, whether it's being a great shooter or a great ball handler or having a great IQ. You have to stand out in some way, especially when you lack the size and you lack the strength. You have to just stand out through skill or IQ.
I say it. You may not agree. I think you probably agree. You might not say it. Any
Mm-hmm.
guards, any players under 6 feet are actually more talented, I feel, than the people that have the height. They got to put in, as you just said, 2 times the work. So they got to be that much skill times two. So shout out to all the guards under 6 feet, Smurf gang. We out here. You feel me? Smurf gang.
Yeah.
Get you out of here.
I,
Exactly. We get you out of here with this
I
one. What
hate when
up,
people
Derek?
talk. That's why I don't like when people talk trash about like Isaiah Thomas. Like, yo, he's 5'9" in the NBA. Like, what more do you want from this guy? Like, you know,
Exactly. Shout out to IT. He just said, his surgeries is good. He's back to himself. I can't wait to see IT back on the court.
yeah,
But
can't wait to. Yeah,
get you out of here with this one. The Heat, they able to pull out that one game. Jimmy Butler went crazy, 40-point, triple double. Who you got winning the series? Are the Heat going to come back?
it's one game. I just think just because of the loss of Dragic and Adebayo, I don't realistically. I don't think it's possible for the Heat to win. So I think I'll give it to the Lakers. I think LeBron's going to get his fourth.
Lakers in 5.
I'll probably give Heat one more. I'll say Lakers in six.
Lakers in 6.
That's my yep.
All right. What's up, D? Yo, thank you. Appreciate you for hopping on. This is another installment, another episode of the Bench Mob podcast. We wish nothing but great future endeavors for you. I already know it's going to be happening. This will be dope. Once you make it pro, we could look back and like, yeah, we was able to, we interviewed Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 25, we interviewed Pat Jamison. So,
I
again,
appreciate
thank you for taking time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for taking time out your busy schedule. But Bench Mob, we out. Peace.
No doubt. Thank you for having me, Antonio. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Love you, bro.
Yep. Take care.